Next on KPBS Evening Edition, helping to curb domestic violence. What experts are saying in the wake of that deadly family shooting in Paradise Hills in the hope of saving more lives. Plus, is there a new solution to helping our housing situation? What local officials unveiled today they think will help. And it's far from a done deal, the rally and new reasons for concern involving the Mission Valley Stadium deal and SDSU.
Just because they happen to be more wild than they are domestic should not mean that they need to be euthanized.
Is it a humane solution or causing even more problems? We investigate why stray cats are being released back onto the streets. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. It's Monday, November 18th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. We begin tonight with a story about domestic violence and the shooting deaths of a local mother and her 3 kids. It's a tragic story, and one local official's hope can be avoided in the future. KPBS reporter Priya Sridhar explains.
Saturday morning, police say 31-year-old Jose Valdivia shot and killed his 29-year-old wife and 3 of his sons, ages 3, 5, and 11. The 4th son, a 9-year-old, underwent emergency surgery and remains hospitalized in critical condition. Court documents show the couple was in the middle of a divorce. The wife had secured a restraining order just 1 day before the shooting. Jessica Yaffa is the outgoing president of the San Diego Domestic Violence Council.
What we know to be true, statistically speaking, is that when a survivor is preparing to leave a relationship or has just left a relationship, it is in fact the most dangerous time in the relationship. And the reason that is that domestic violence is all about power and control.
She says making sure victims have access to resources and can make a plan to leave a violent relationship can help reduce the threat of violence.
There may have been an opportunity to put her and her children in an emergency shelter, or there may have been a friend or family member living in an undisclosed location that he didn't know about.
Police say it's unclear whether the husband had received a copy of the restraining order prior to the shooting. Priya Sridhar, KPBS News.
And if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, the national hotline can help. The number is 1-800-799-7233. Again, that number is 1-800-799-7233. And that was just one in a string of mass shootings in recent days. Last night, 10 people were shot during a football watch party in Fresno. 4 people died. Police say they're looking for a pair of shooters who sneaked behind a backyard and started firing at random. They believe the group was deliberately targeted. Officers are checking surveillance video from neighbors to see if they can develop any leads. And just days ago, she was shot by a classmate. Now, one of the survivors from the school shooting in Santa Clarita is talking and thanking first responders. Tina Patel has more.
I would like to thank the students, teachers, and staff, and the first responders who literally saved my life on Thursday.
Addison Kegley, one of the students injured in the shooting at Saugus High School last week, put together this video to thank everyone for the support she's gotten during her recovery, and also to pay tribute to the 2 classmates who did not make it, 14-year-old Dominic Blackwell and 15-year-old Gracie Muehlberger. Addison says Gracie was her best friend.
Gracie was one of the best people I have ever met, and she changed my life for the better. I love her so much. Dom had a great soul, a kind heart, a loving spirit, and so much more. He could put a smile on anyone's face.
Saugus remains closed, although students will be allowed on campus this week to pick up their belongings or meet with counselors. Matt Brzezinski, whose daughter is still trying to cope with her grief, appreciates that the school district is giving Saugus students more time.
I think the district has done a great job of supporting the students, communicating to the families to make sure that the students can get the help they need.
Police were keeping watch as students returned to other schools in the district today. Rodney Brzezinski admits he was uneasy about returning to Arroyo Seco Junior High so soon after the shooting.
I'm a bit nervous with everything that's happened, but it's reassuring to know that there's people and first responders out there to protect you.
He said he and his dad talked about how to handle his emotions today and in the days to come.
Talk to people about it. Don't feel scared. Asking for help isn't weak.
And that was Tina Patel reporting. Saugus High School plans to resume classes after the Thanksgiving holiday. Parts of Interstate 5 will be closed overnight tonight. That's because the deck of the trolley overpass south of Nobel will be getting a concrete pour. It's part of the Mid-Coast Trolley Project. Southbound I-5 from La Jolla Village Drive to Gilman Drive will be closed starting at 9. Northbound I-5 from State Route 52 to La Jolla Village Drive will be closed starting at 11. All lanes reopen tomorrow morning at 5. The trolley extension is expected to be complete in 2021. San Diego State University is one step closer to purchasing the city-owned stadium property in Mission Valley. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says the City Council gave feedback on the university's latest offer.
SDSU has agreed to purchase the 135 acres of prime real estate for $86.2 million. That's quite a bit more than the first offer, but it also includes a number of new conditions. Before the City Council meeting, supporters of SDSU rallied downtown chanting, "Get it done." Many later told the council the university's expansion will be a lasting asset for students, faculty, and the greater community. But the city attorney's office has cautioned against rushing through a purchase and sale agreement that has a host of potential pitfalls.
Finally, this is one of the largest real property transactions in city history. We must take the time we need to get the deal done right and to minimize the risk of major problems surfacing in the future. We will draft the PSA as expeditiously as possible, but we will not agree to do it under unrealistic timelines. That would be irresponsible.
SDSU wants to close the deal by the end of March so it can get a new stadium constructed in time for the 2022 football season. Under their timeline, the City Council would have to vote on the deal in January. Councilman Chris Ward says he's not sure that's realistic.
I trust that everybody that's on deck is going to be given this their all, but I don't want us to also be running up against a clock that is so hard and fast that we have even the smallest of details out of line that will unravel this whole opportunity and set us all back for years.
The city attorney's office is expected next month to give an update on its progress toward drafting a final deal. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, Hong Kong chaos. Tensions escalate as police and protesters clash at a local university. It's coming up at 7 right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
It was a hot weekend and another warm day today, but our weather is about to change with rain expected soon. Lauren Rainson has tonight's forecast.
Boy, oh boy, did we have some record warmth throughout the region on Sunday. Several cities shattered previous record highs. We topped out in the upper 80s to the lower 90s. It has been downright hot. Now windy, the fire danger continues to be elevated as high pressure is building in off to our east. That's tightening up the pressure gradient, therefore creating that strong offshore flow, especially between and below the canyons and the passes. We've been tracking that powerful trough that's been sinking its way southward. There are a couple of tropical depressions even further to our south, currently not influencing our weather. But as that trough continues to become tangled within that Pacific moisture, at last bringing back some significant rain to the forecast. And for some areas in the southwest, thunderstorms. There will be periods of soaking rainfall. We're looking at 1 to 2 inches. Your AccuWeather local storm max is forecasting up to 4 inches of total rainfall. I'm thinking for us in Southern California, 1 to 2 inches is a safe bet at this time. But there comes the trough beginning late Tuesday night and into Wednesday. This will set us up for that much needed pattern change, but we will need to be on high alert for the potential of mudslides. There comes the rain starting to push in. We're getting back to that influence of Pacific moisture. It's working its way into the trough, sparking these showers, periods of heavy downpours. The most significant rainfall will remain off to our east across Arizona. Nonetheless, we're still going to be squeezing out those showers on and off again Tuesday through Wednesday. We're going to stay dry out ahead of that tonight with a low of 60 in the metro area. Throughout the rest of the area, expect lows into the upper 40s, middle 50s, some spots lower 60s. We'll get back to a few more clouds tomorrow. They're going to be building in ahead of that incoming showers. These next couple of days, find where you put the umbrella. I know it's been a while, but you'll be needing that through the middle of the week. Toward the end of the week, we'll get back to drying and clearing out again. That's going to be the trend inland as well, with cooler temperatures, especially in the mountains. The desert region, we also note the cooling trend, with highs in the 60s through Thursday. Will pick back up again toward the end of the week. Reporting for KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Lauren Rainson. Back to you.
More trouble for horses at Del Mar. 2 more thoroughbreds have died, bringing the total number to 4 since the fall season started this month. One of those horses injured its foot last week, and trainers thought it would recover, but it had to be euthanized. Another horse died from an unrelated cause. Horse racing has been under scrutiny after dozens of horses died at Santa Anita earlier this year. The local Humane Society took over animal control responsibilities in several San Diego County cities a year ago. In that time, they have quietly released more than 1,200 stray cats back to the streets. KPBS investigative reporter Claire Tregesser explains why this program is controversial.
So this is the back of the trap.
Hannah Shaw is setting a trap for a cat. She puts some wet cat food in the back of a small wire crate.
So ideally what you want is a cat is going to want this food so bad that they walk all the way to the back of the trap and they step on the trip plate and the trap closes.
Cats peek through the trees as she weaves through a narrow walkway to lay the trap. She and 2 other women back away to wait. A few minutes later, a cat crawls in and triggers the door to swing shut.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hi.
Shaw, who calls herself Kitten Lady, is the founder of the nonprofit Orphan Kitten Club. She rescues kittens, but also traps their parents, usually feral cats who live outdoors and aren't socialized to humans.
He's not super friendly with me, but that's okay. I love you anyway.
She takes the cats to a clinic to be spayed or neutered, then releases them back to where they came from. Her organization has been doing this for about a year. She says the cats aren't socialized enough to be adopted, and letting them loose is far more humane than euthanizing them. But it's controversial. Bird lovers, environmentalists, even some cat lovers say it is harmful to both the cats and the environment. Now, the San Diego Humane Society is taking the practice to a higher level. The organization took over animal control contracts for San Diego and other local cities a year ago. Since then, it has allowed more than 1,200 cats to be released, including more than 700 in the city of San Diego. Gary Weitzman, the CEO of San Diego Humane Society, says the number should be higher.
We absolutely stand for zero euthanasia of animals that are healthy or treatable. And that would include those cats. Just because they happen to be more wild than they are domestic should not mean that they need to be euthanized.
But he's meeting resistance from animal rights activists. And the Humane Society could end up in court. The city of Los Angeles tried this program called Trap, Neuter, Return in 2006. Conservation groups sued the city for not considering the effect feral cats would have on the environment. The program is still on hold. The city only recently finished its environmental impact report. Orange County also launched a cat release program, but just received a cease and desist letter from animal rescue groups. Weitzman says he's not sure why you'd need an environmental impact report when you aren't actually adding new cats to the environment.
It's not like we would be bringing them in from Portland, Oregon, and then releasing them, here in Kensington or Talmadge.
San Diego city officials refused to issue any comment about what the Humane Society is doing until after the city council votes on extending its contract. That is expected to happen next month.
You're bossy with the other kitties. You need a big space to share.
Elizabeth Tracy cuddles a white cat named Dooman, who was rescued from Tijuana. Tracy and her co-volunteer, Carrie Ross, work for the rescue organization Cat Adoption Service. They say it's cruel to force any cat to live outside.
We have coyotes, hawks, owls, foxes. Then you also have wild dogs and domesticated dogs that are on a leash. I mean, they'll go right up to them, some of these cats. And then you have starving to death. And then you have all the illness that comes with being outside.
And the advocates claim the Humane Society is not just releasing feral cats. They're sending socialized, adoptable cats back to the streets.
They don't care if the cat's friendly or not. They're going to put it back.
Oh, that we don't do.
Again, Gary Weitzman, the CEO of the San Diego Humane Society.
If they come in and they are actually friendly and adoptable cats, we will actually put them up for adoption rather than re-releasing them to the outdoors. We do not want to do that. These are the cats mostly that we're talking about that are the ones that you can't pet, that you can't touch, that are terrified, that are in traps, not in carriers.
But multiple records from San Diego Humane Society show cats who were easy to handle or who were brought in using carriers were slated to be released back onto the streets. And KPBS obtained an email from Humane Society staff that says they do release friendly cats. It says the reason is they return cats to areas where, quote, the owners might not come to look for their cat at our shelter. But advocates Carrie Ross and Elizabeth Tracy think there's a different reason. They say the Humane Society is releasing cats to keep its euthanization rate down.
They want to show how many cats went out the door. It's not necessarily how they went out to the door or where they went to the door, who they went home with, whether they went home to a great home. It's just that they left the building.
The Humane Society responded, saying it doesn't count cats who are released as adopted pets and cares about what's best for each animal, not statistics. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
And part 2 of Claire's report airs tomorrow. It looks into the impact outdoor cats have on the environment. Giving money to people to keep them from becoming homeless. That's the idea behind a new program being floated by a county supervisor. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman explains the program, which could cover more than just rent.
When you confront a problem as vexing as the homeless one, it requires you to do different things. It requires you to be innovative.
For County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher, that means launching a subsidy program called a Flex Pool.
Maybe there's an apartment available to someone and it's $800 a month, but all they can afford is $500, and we can bridge that gap.
The Flex in Flex Pool means the money would be flexible. It can be used countywide and for a variety of reasons.
Someone who their car breaks down and they have to make a choice. Do I fix my car and keep my job, or do I pay my rent?
The Flex Pool model is one used by nonprofits, including Jewish Family Service. They operate 3 city-funded safe parking lots where people can sleep overnight.
In those contracts, there's dollars to operate the lots, but there really aren't the dollars to provide kind of the what-ifs.
Those what-ifs include things like repairs, rent, storage costs, or other bills.
We've helped them get back into housing, and they've been in housing for the 6th month, 7th month, and all of a sudden something happens in that house, and they're short a month. Now all of us have worked way too long to get them back into housing, for them to be off a month or 2 of rent and then to be back out on the street.
The other part of Flex Pool is the pool, aka the money. The county has $2.5 million that's eligible for this, and other funds could come from grants, businesses, or private donors with one goal in mind:
to get them off the streets or keep them from going onto the streets.
Fletcher says people on a fixed income would benefit from this program. He wants the county to take the lead on managing it. Supervisors are voting on moving the idea forward tomorrow. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Did President Trump lie to special counsel Robert Mueller? Democrats in the House are looking into that question. The move comes after revelations in the trial of Roger Stone. He's the longtime Trump ally convicted of multiple crimes related to the Russia investigation. House members are looking into whether President Trump discussed WikiLeaks with Stone as it relates to the leaking of Democratic Party emails. Meanwhile, President Trump is hinting he might take a more active role in the impeachment hearings. Today, he tweeted that he might consider testifying, at least in writing, after the possibility was brought up by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Trump is still calling the process a hoax. It's going to be a busy week, and it all starts tomorrow. Lauren Fox reports.
Publicly in the impeachment inquiry this week, including Ambassador to the EU Gordon Sondland, who is emerging as the most pivotal witness in the proceedings.
The member of my staff could hear President Trump on the phone asking Ambassador Sondland about the investigations. Ambassador Sondland told President Trump the Ukrainians were ready to move forward.
In his closed-door depositions, former national security official Tim Morrison, who is slated to testify tomorrow, said he knew of at least 5 direct conversations between Sondland and Trump, adding that Sondland was acting at Trump's direction. Morrison said Sondland told him that he informed a Ukrainian official that nearly $400 million in military aid for Ukraine could be freed up if, quote, the prosecutor general would go to the mic and announce that he was opening the Burisma investigation.
What we're talking about here is that the President of the United States used taxpayer-funded military assistance to pressure a foreign leader to help him in his re-election campaign. That is solicitation of a bribe.
The Wall Street Journal reporting this morning on emails that show Sondland kept several Trump administration officials apprised of his effort, including acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney and Energy Secretary Rick Perry.
And as I've said from the beginning, I think this is not okay. The President of the United States shouldn't, even in the original phone call, be on the phone with the president of another country and raise his political opponent. But if you look at Sondland's testimony, which is also public, he says that the direction that he received from the President of the United States was no quid pro quo.
President Trump again lashing out at another witness in a tweet. In a transcript released this weekend, Jennifer Williams, a State Department employee detailed to the vice president's office who listened to the July 25th phone call between President Trump and the Ukrainian president. She told impeachment investigators President Trump's request for specific investigations struck her as, quote, unusual and inappropriate. Vice President Mike Pence's office is making a concerted effort to distance itself from Williams, who is slated to testify tomorrow, releasing a statement emphasizing, quote, Jennifer is a State Department employee.
And once again, KPBS will have live coverage of the impeachment hearings. It's expected to begin tomorrow morning at 6. You can watch, listen, or stream the coverage on all of our platforms. California is suing the nation's biggest e-cigarette maker. Juul has long denied it marketed to teens, but California's Attorney General points to rising underage use.
In California, we will not allow kids to be lured in by deceptive practices. We will not retreat, and we will fight back. We will hold any company's feet to the fire for lying to our kids and fueling a public health crisis.
A lot of the Juul ads were on social media, not necessarily on television, and so that money that is collected in a lawsuit will be used to provide targeted re-education ads to young people that this is not cool, that it's deadly.
President Trump is reportedly backing away from the idea of banning most flavored e-cigarettes. Officials say he is reluctant to alienate voters he needs for re-election who might be affected by the ban. Trump announced a proposed ban 2 months ago as the number of injuries and deaths associated with vaping-related lung disease rose. There's a new electric vehicle on the market, and it's a Ford Mustang. The company unveiled its Mustang Mach-E SUV. It's the first new style of Mustang in 55 years. The Mach-E can go from 0 to 60 in roughly 3.5 seconds. Ford also says, unlike most electric vehicles, this Mustang will come with a distinctive sound like its other models are known for. It will be available in late 2020, and prices range from $45,000 to $60,000. It's a view of the U.S. no one has seen until now. A helicopter pilot from Florida has just wrapped up a cross-country flight and set a record. As Robin Simmons reports, he's the first to do it solo from the cockpit of a helicopter.
A Miami-based pilot setting a Guinness World Record, finishing the fastest solo helicopter flight through all 48 contiguous states in the U.S. He did it in honor of Guinness World Records Day.
I've set a Guinness World Record flying the helicopter 48 states in the shortest amount of time. There's 12 days, 14 hours, and 59 minutes.
Yusuke Tamalirat says he was excited to try this record because he wants to inspire more people to become helicopter pilots, and he wanted to share the beauty of the U.S. from the skies.
We have a little bit of a pilot shortage going on right now, so there's not many helicopter pilots around. Many of us are transferring to the airplanes, and the missions that we have are really valuable, and I would like to encourage more pilots on there. The whole entire trip was really exhilarating to experience, and it was very, absolutely privileged to be able to experience that and share with everyone.
In preparing for the 12-day flight, Chamalirat trained his mind and body to prevent exhaustion and make sure he's able to manage any complications that might happen with the aircraft while flying solo.
You have to watch out your fatigue. You have to be very emotionally and physically aware of when to go, when not to go, what kind of weather, have the good risk management, and be really sensible about it.
The record-breaking flight, a dream come true, and it comes with a message for everyone trying to dream big like him.
I want to encourage everyone to really go after your dreams. If you have anything that you really want to get out there and do, it's a little bit crazy. There's a lot of people doubting you. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing it. You will get there, and just keep pushing and keep doing it.
And that was Robin Simmons reporting. Back here in San Diego, the SDSU Aztecs are back in the top 25. The Aztecs are ranked 25th in the latest coaches poll. Over the weekend, they beat Fresno State. SDSU has a big trip coming up this week. They travel to Hawaii, where the winner will earn a spot in the Mountain West Championship game. Awesome. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great evening.